Hi everyone, my name is Kiana Rowe, and I'd like to welcome you to the Lit Chat, a literary review for the woman's soul. This is the first of many book reviews brought to you by Coffee and Conversations Project Soar. In the Lit Chat, I will be reviewing books that support overall mental wellness. As a woman, and certainly as a Black woman, life can be exhausting. From work-life balance to maintaining a household to raising children and even quasi-adult children, trying to spread their wings, which is something that I'm in the throes of right now. It's difficult. To maintaining friendships, to making new friends, even accepting the new dynamics of old friendships. It can be difficult, it can be stressful, it can be mentally draining and exhausting. Ultimately, the vicissitudes, as my dad would say, the vicissitudes of life can be mentally draining. And so that's kind of how this whole book review kind of came about. It's about how do we support women, women of color, and just women of all walks of life. How do we support them in their mental health journey in terms of mental awareness and what we can do just on our own to kind of support mental wellness. And so that's kind of how this came about. So in the Lit Chat, and I hope you'll follow us on our YouTube. You can find us on Coffee and Conversation 529 on our YouTube, and you can certainly go onto our website, www.coffeeandconvo.com. You can kind of check us out there as well, and you'll just find kind of some of the things we're doing. But in the Lit Chat, we're going to really be discussing books that support that. And so our first book is the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And so before I even get into kind of the points that really resonated with me that I hope will resonate with you and that'll help you with just supporting your mental health and your wellness, I want to tell you kind of how it came about and why I even, read this book. So this is our first book that we chose for the Lit Chat. And the Lit Chat's kind of a funky thing, like literary chat, the Lit Chat. How this book came about was I was at a friend's promotional ceremony a few months back, and I was chatting with a woman who's a chaplain. She's a community chaplain, and she always is wonderful. And so she was asking me about how things were going in my life, and I shared with her things were well. I've got 3 beautiful children, and my oldest is in her second year of college. And I will say it's been the most difficult thing as a mother thus far for me. Parenting adult children. That's what I was sharing with her, just because she's trying to spread her wings, kind of flex a little independence. She's a quasi-adult, but she's still financially reliant on me, and I still am responsible for her mental health, and so I want to check in with her without being a helicopter mom. And so it's been difficult to, track her on Life 360. Yes, I have Life 360. Get it? But to track her, and just know that she's, it's hard for me to go to bed when she's 8-9 hours away from me and not know that she's home safe. And so that's been difficult. When I see her in places, I'm like, what is she doing there? But I have to back off. So it's been difficult. So I was just sharing some of those challenges with her. And she said, Kiana, control the controllables. You can't control everything. Have you read this book? Or have you heard of the book, Let Them, by Mel Robbins? And I'm like, no. And she said, I got them as gifts for my daughter. I got them as gifts for my friends. You should check it out. So I did. And that's how this particular book came to be our first book in the Lit Chat. So I'm going to go over 10 or so things that really resonated with me that I hope will resonate with you. And so I did put them in my phone because I don't want to forget them. So I have a little cheat sheet of notes, but I hope that they will resonate with you, at least one of them, that you can put in your toolbox to help support your mental wellness. Because I want to say before I get into it, that oftentimes we think that we can put our mental health in the corner. Our physical health, we show up and we're present, we physically feel well, but this is not right? We don't feel like we're present, we don't feel like we're optimal. And so I'm here to tell you we can't separate that. We can't physically be well and our mental health is suffering. They are really synonymous. Well, I don't know if synonymous is the word. It's a symbiotic, I should say, relationship. And when this is not okay, you will suffer physically too. You'll suffer, stress. Stress has an impact on your physical well-being when you're mentally stressed. Gut issues, digestive issues, aches and pains. I mean, just a lot of different things. So you got to make sure that you're well. So anyway, here are the 10 things that really resonated with me. So number one, after reading this book, what's interesting is I read it on audio first, and then I wanted the actual hard copy, certainly for the podcast, but so I can take notes. I wanted to highlight things that really resonated because I thought it was very helpful. So number one, I'm just going to give you kind of an overview of what this book is about, and just a quick little overview holistically about what the book is about. So hold on. Let's see before I get into it. So basically this book is a powerful reminder of the energy that we waste trying to control others, like what they think, what they do, how they respond to us, and how freeing it is to simply let them. Let them do. Let them think the way they want. Let them think what they want about us, about you. Let them respond the way they want to, with you and towards you. Oftentimes it's not about you. And the idea in this book isn't about giving up or even being passive, but it's about redirecting our focus to the things that we can control. So let them is about letting go of the things we can't control and focusing really on the things that we can. And there's freedom in that. And what can we control is ourselves. So let's get started. Number one that really resonated with me is that the only permission that you need is your own, Oftentimes we wait for validation or for expertise, for the right qualifications before we take action. And what would it look like if we just started? And we told ourselves we're enough, we're good enough. Now this doesn't mean that if there's something, let's say, that you need expertise in, there's a job you're applying for that requires, certain things that you don't, prepare yourself and get yourself girded up with those things, that you're knowledgeable on those things, that you're trained, and that you are, qualified. That's not what this means. But it's a good reminder for those of us navigating career changes, creative endeavors, or just trying to live more authentically, I wrote down, that, yeah, you can. Maybe you're in a career that you don't love, and that you're in it because you feel like, okay, I've gone through X many years preparing for it. But I'm here to tell you, if you want to change and pivot in that career, and you had this deep dream to do something else, go ahead and do it. You don't need anybody else's validation to say, hey, stop that career, stop this. You can do it. You can go ahead and stop, and you can pivot. But the only permission you need is your own. The second thing that really resonated with me was this theory, let them, can really set you free. Free from the opinions, the drama, and judgment of others. So I'm going to actually read this because I don't want to miss something. So how much of our stress comes from trying to manage other people, their emotions, their reactions, their expectations? The reality is we can't manage other people. So let's stop trying. Let them, as Mel would say, let them feel how they feel. Let them think what they think. And then let me focus on what actually matters, which is my own energy, my choices, and my peace of mind. So allowing people, and I think this really resonated with me because, really with work, you want to be accepted. You want people to not talk about you or to not say these nasty things about you, but let them. Like, you can't control it. When you're not in a space and they're in a room, how they show up and how they present and how they talk about you and either lift you up or tear you down, you have no control over, so let it be. Who cares? Let them. And so that was really powerful for me because in this particular, thinking like this allows you to not feel like you have to get someone else's validation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't care. You can't control it anyway, so why are you going to sit here and fight to try to control it, right? Anyway, so let people think what they want, and then let you focus on the things that you should focus on. Number 3, we try to keep the peace to avoid conflict and to ensure everyone around us is happy. So keep the peace. But other people really hold no real power over you unless you give it to them. That's powerful. So nobody holds power over you unless you give it to them. Trying to control outcomes is exhausting. The more we let them, the more we reclaim our time, our mental bandwidth, and our joy. In the book, Mel really emphasizes that this doesn't mean like disengaging entirely. It means letting go of unrealistic expectations of what we can and can't control. Oh, it's a little windy in my backyard. I chose to do it in my backyard right now. I'm cold, but it's still kind of hot, so hopefully my camera's not shaking. Number 4, you'll never reach the full potential of your life if you continue to allow stupid things or rude people to drain your life force. I literally wrote this right out of the book. I'm gonna read it again. You'll never reach the full potential that God has made you to be, the full potential of your life if you continue to allow stupid things or rude people to drain your life force. And this is powerful because it does matter. Our human nature, it does matter. You want to be liked. You want to be received. You don't want, people who are rude to you. It does cut and it's sharp. But I'm here to tell you, when you're thinking about this life-changing tool and this life-changing theory about let them, because you can't control it anyway, it's powerful. Not every conversation that you hear needs your participation, right? Not every conversation needs you to respond. You can disengage and say, let them, not my problem, right? Not every problem needs our involvement. We can choose how to respond and if we respond at all. That's the best part. We can choose how to respond if we respond at all, because a no response is a response. And when something stresses us out, or something or someone, let them be done. You can disengage. This is something that I'm learning right now. I think the person that I am, and I think a lot of us women, as nurturers, we're people pleasers. We want everybody in the room to be okay. The consummate entertainer, you have guests at your house. What do? You're looking at all 40 people, making sure they're okay. Is everything okay? And that translates in a lot of spaces in our lives. It translates into our homes. Is your spouse, is your mate, are they okay? Are your children okay? Are your friends okay when you're with them? And it's draining. And so sometimes if there's conflict with some of these things, I mean, you love them and you want, but sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm not even gonna respond to that. Someone says something sharp or harsh to you, let them. You don't have to. Sometimes it's not about you. I'm learning this in adult friendships, and we'll talk about that too, about, you want people to respect your hurt, your stuff, and when you share it, you don't want to hear a whole bunch of, well, you can, that's your right, you can take it the way you want to. If someone has hurt you and you are expressing, hey, that kind of hurt, and their response to you is, well, you can take it how you want, that's not how it was meant, but you can take it how you want, and they don't care to own it and say, hey, that wasn't my intent, and that certainly isn't what I wanted to do, let them. You get choices. You get choices on how to respond. But I'll get into that when we talk about friendships. But ultimately, you'll never reach your full potential of your life if you continue to allow stupid things or rude people drain your life force. Number 5, what would you do if you weren't worried about being judged? In this book, Mel Robbin, she really challenges us to examine how much power we give to the thoughts of others. Often people who aren't even paying close attention to us. So that's the thing. You go into a room, they don't even care about you, but you're giving them this power as if they do. They don't pay your bills. They're not paying close attention to you, but yet we're giving them all this power. We care so much about how am I perceived? What do they think of me? Be you, do you. You are enough. You don't have to conform. Just imagine how exhausting it is to constantly morph and be this chameleon for what you think people think you should be, or you think that they think you should be, and they don't even think of you in that way because they don't even care. They're doing their own thing. They already read this book and they don't care. So what does it look like when you, if you're not worried about being judged? How much more would you do if you didn't care about what other people thought of you? How much further would you go? How much bigger would you be in terms of reaching your potential if you didn't care about what people thought, right? That's number 5. We're winding down, you guys. This is the one that, number 6, really, really resonated with me because I see this show up in my own life. And anyway, adult friendships. So, bottom line, adult friendships shift. They shift. What used to be may not be anymore. People move, they change, and they grow. And that's okay. The more you let people be who they are, the better the relationships will be. The let them theory teaches us to stop expecting everyone to stay the same, to release the need to be included in everything, and to trust that the right people will remain in our lives. Let them drift in, let them drift out. Let them stay open to new connections. If you are in midlife, I wrote this down like word for word. If you are in midlife and are struggling with friendships, this book is for you. And particularly chapters 11 through 13. Read this book. But I'm just going to say a couple things that was really powerful for me when you're talking about friendships. When you're a kid, she explained this well, and I probably am not doing it justice, but I'm going to give it a whirl. When you're a kid, friends kind of come easy, right? We don't have all the gunk and the trauma and the judgy, whatever. Friends kind of come easy. You are usually in the same neighborhood. You go to the same school. You play on the same sports team. So you're naturally together. Your parents, because you play on these sports teams, your parents are often together. You might be at each other's homes for dinner. So they might babysit you because you live in the same neighborhood. And then she calls it the great scattering, because that happens you matriculate together through school, through elementary school, through middle school, through high school. And then you get to college, and she calls that the great scattering, because now all your friends that you literally have known all your life and they feel like your right arm and you think they're your besties, you grow and you move away. One friend, and I'll just speak from here. So one friend goes off to Arizona. We're going to root this in California. One friend goes to Arizona. One friend goes to Maryland for college. One friend goes to Atlanta for college. And it's the great scattering. And all your friends that you once knew, the relationships you once had, the time you once spent, the things you once shared, kind of drift. And so now you kind of try to stay in touch, but everyone who's kind of scattered, all your friends, they get new friends where they are, right? She talks about friendships in terms of one of the key things about friendships is usually proximity, right? We're close to each other, so we're going to be friends. I got a neighbor up the street, we can go hang out. We go to the same school, you hang out. But then the proximity changes once you have this great scattering. So friendships kind of shift and change, and maybe even drift. Then you grow up, you get older, life starts happening, you graduate college, you might take a job somewhere, you've tried to maintain these friendships, but now they've all moved again, and you get new friends in your new neighborhood. You think you're all friends, and she speaks about an example of where she did that. She moved away, she met friends in this little community, their kids kind of played together, but then she left a friend that was way off in another state, and she talked that particular friend into moving from her state to her state, because she felt like this friend would fit in so good with her new friend group. So she moves, and that friend, though, fit better into the friend group. And so she was hurt. She felt like, oh my gosh. And then she ended up moving away just around the corner, but it wasn't in proximity with the others. So things started happening. And one of the things she said, which was really powerful, is what are you doing to maintain friendships, right? Everybody wants to be included. Everybody wants to be invited to that party, be invited to someone's home, get the call to say, hey, let's go to coffee. But what are you doing as an adult? Because it's easier as kids. We just don't have the gunk and the trauma and all these barriers, if you will. Are you intentionally seeking out the very things you want? Are you, because she was like, well, let them, when you're talking, I know I'm kind of bebopping here, but when you're talking about this great scattering, and it's like, hey, they've moved, and you're trying to maintain relationship, but they've got other people, let them. It's not even always about you. Let them grow in other ways. Sorry, my camera's shaking, we got a wind gust. But let them, it's okay. And then let me engage that person that you think might be drifting. Or what are you doing in your own space to intentionally create the relationships you want? Are you calling that friend to say, hey, let's go to coffee? Or are you just sitting back in your room like, oh my gosh, they're not calling me? Or are you scrolling Facebook and seeing these 4 people always together and you used to be a part of it and they're not? Maybe it's that you always say no when they invite you. And I know that's a thing for me. I've got some beautiful friends in my life that are constantly, and shout out if you ever watch this, you know who you are, that are constantly watering our friendship. And I do a lousy job. Like I do a lousy job sometimes because I say I'm busy. My job, my work, I work funky hours. And so I don't, I'm like, I'm tired, but I'll get back to them. But it's not fair. And so then all of a sudden, those invitations start dwindling and decreasing because they're like, hey, Kiana always says no anyway. Why would I ask her, right? And so what are you doing to maintain those adult relationships? What are you doing out of your comfort zone to seek the very things you want? Because adult friendships are hard. So anyway, I'm not going to just sit there, but I tell you what, in this whole book, I think adult friendships, chapters 11 through 13, were the very things that really hit home for me. Because that, I will say, I think we as humans, I know, and I'm going to, hold this up to anybody's, opinion, we're made for community. We're made for community. We were made for others. We were made to be in community with others, to share our lives with others, to create friendships, to build other people up, to love each other, to cry on each other's shoulders. We were meant for that. And so if we think that we can't do life alone, wrong. You can't do life alone. So, and if you think that everybody should chase you down and call you and invite you and you always tell them no, shame on you. And I'm preaching to the choir here. You have to do the very things. You have to reach out and be intentional in relationships as well. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. I think I've really beat that dead horse. But chapters 11 through 13. All right. Number 7, the hard truth. You can't make other people change. You can't. You can love them hard. You can try. You can give them resources. But you cannot make others change. No matter how much we want to. People will only change when they're ready. The best thing we can do is model the change ourselves. And in this book, the author, Mel, really shares research on social things and how our own growth, how we as people and our growth effectively impacts others to change more than nagging. So this really speaks to maybe your I think your romantic relationships, perhaps, that you're trying to change that spouse. Don't just model the behavior, and your modeling and your new behavior of what you hope to see in them is more inspiring and more encouraging than you nagging them. I'm just gonna let that sit right there, y'all. Even for your kids, okay? You're not gonna be able to change kids. But honestly, there's research that says by the time their dad burned 9, 10, you've done all you can do, and all you're doing is really kind of helping steer their, pour into them, but their personalities are formed. You're not gonna be able to change them. So modeling the behavior is the best way to get people to kind of to change. So, and this one's tough. This one really hit me too. So let them struggle. You notice all the let them, right? Let them struggle. And this one really speaks to the adult children, right? You want to save your babies. And right now, when I'm talking about struggling, it's not like my kids are, trying to buy their own apartment and they're, needing money or anything. For me, it's more of watching them navigate their friendships, their tiffs and tats with their friendships, with their significant others. This is my oldest one, kind of, she's 19 now, about to be 20, and she's getting little boyfriends, away at college. When she was home, she really didn't date too much, and high school years were all about her friends. She went to all girls high school and just was really about school. And so now her moving away has been difficult for me because I have never really seen her navigate a little, boy, if you will, in a relationship. And so now doing that from a distance and listening to her issues has been very difficult because I just want to tell her the right thing to do. Here's the answer, sis. This is what you got to do. But let them struggle a little bit. Let them help navigate that unless they come to you. Let them come to you, but let them work it out. They'll be okay. We want to rescue people that we love, but there's a fine line between supporting and enabling. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is step back and let someone face their own challenges with us by their side, providing support. Let them believe in their ability to figure it out. Let them believe in their wholeness, in their enoughness, in their ability to get through some things. And if they ask for your help, yeah, sure, share some insight, but don't meddle. Parents, don't be the meddling mom, because I've been accused of that. Yep. Surprise. Not that my job, anybody who knows me, not that my job makes me controlling, but I'll just put that out there. And this doesn't mean leaving them on their own or, letting them flounder and fail, but it means let them be uncomfortable, going through some icky stuff if they have to. It means giving them space to giving them the space to kind of help figure it out, and then support and tools to do it themselves. Okay, we're almost done. The ninth thing is we waste time chasing people who won't choose us back. And this one, for me, it's about the relationships. You know, maybe there's a friend that you thought when you met, you're like, oh my gosh, we're like peas and carrots. I love this person and I want to be, you know, with them a lot. I want to spend more time with them because I think that we are like wonderful and I love their energy. But maybe they're not feeling the same way. So they don't see the same thing. And so it cuts a little bit, but let them accept, you have to accept the truth about whatever there is. And if someone isn't showing up for you, you think they're your friend, you think they're your spouse, if they're not showing up for you, that's information for you to decipher, right? That's people's actions. That's how they're showing up. So it's important that you, if someone displays behavior, believe it, right? Don't try to make sense of it and try to decode it. It's what it is, right? So don't chase people who aren't chasing you back. Stop trying to control outcomes in relationships. Instead, focus on mutual effort, mutual respect, mutual feelings, and mutual interest. And this really goes for friendships and romantic dating relationships, right? They don't want you, let them go. It hurts a little bit, but what should be for you, you want. You don't want to force anything. Let them. You are looking for information, you're deciphering information, and behavior is one of those things that you should take as information, right? So when you're looking for romantic relationships, it'll help with your mental wellness, ladies. When you're seeing mutual effort, mutual respect, mutual feelings, mutual attraction, and mutual interest. Okay, I'm going to leave you with this. The last thing that really resonated was that this book really, for me, was ultimately about shifting from let them, but also let me. Let them, and then what am I going to do? Instead of spending our energy managing, controlling, and reacting to others, we focus on ourselves and our values, our boundaries, our happiness. It's about letting go of control without abandoning responsibility. And that's the sweet spot. We can be engaged in our lives while detaching from what isn't ours to manage. So that's really it, ultimately. And I'm just going to read kind of the inner thing. If you guys are interested in this book, I hope it created and kind of piqued your interest a little bit. But I'm just going to read a little bit about this book. Just the back cover. I think it might help pique your interest a little bit more, and hopefully you'll get the book and read it. 2 simple words will change how you think about your entire life. If you're struggling to achieve your goals or feel a little happier, the problem isn't you. The problem is the power you give to other people. In this book, you'll learn how 2 words, let them, can set you free. Free from the opinions, drama, and judgment of others. Free from the exhausting cycle of trying to manage everything and everyone around you. There is a better way to live. The Let Them theory is a proven method that teaches you how to protect your time and energy and focus on what matters to you. You've spent too long chasing approval, managing other people's happiness, and letting their opinions hold you back. Learn how to stop giving your power, ladies, your power away, and start creating a life where you come first. Your dreams, your goals, and your happiness, your mental health. Let Them is a simple tool that millions of people around the world can't stop talking about because it works. The fastest way to take control of your life is to stop trying to control other people and focus on what you can control, yourself. By letting other people live their lives, you finally get to live yours. So I'm going to leave you with that. Let Them theory. You guys can get it on Amazon. Our next book that we're going to be reading, just so you guys stay tuned, the next one will come out in, I believe, in a month. What are we in? We're April. I believe it's coming out in June, but follow us on our social media. It's Coffee and Conversation, so www.forcoffeeandcombo.com. You can find us on our YouTube, Coffee and Conversation 529. What else? But our next book is going to be, it's called Before You Climb Any Higher by Jonathan McReynolds. And I'm going to see if I can throw this. I have it on Audible right now. I've been reading it. It's pretty phenomenal. But Before You Climb Any Higher If you guys can see it, Jonathan McReynolds. I encourage you all to get this book either in its hard copy form or you can get it on Audible and start reading it. And in the next month or so, we'll review that. I'm going to try to see if I can give you guys a quick little overview of that book. Hold on really quick. Before you climb any higher. Sorry. Okay, let's see. Okay, just to give a quick overview about this book, so it'll kind of pique your interest. Okay, before you climb any higher, we long for mountaintop experiences, but they're difficult to achieve and impossible to maintain without the rest, nourishment, and strength found in lush, life-giving valleys. Grammy Award winner Jonathan McReynolds shows us why having a valley mindset is not what you think about. Well, I'm sorry. Jonathan McReynolds shows us why having a valley mindset is not what you think. It's about receiving and really thinking about how we look at mountains and valleys in terms of attaining this, whatever that the ultimate pinnacle of success is, and what it does to our mental health in the process, what it does to our relationships in the process. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to the Lit Chat, a literary review for the woman's soul. I hope to see you in a couple of months with the Jonathan McReynolds, Before You Climb Any Higher. Bye, ladies.